Good morning, student. Today we discuss about important topic of electrostatic sector. Important in the sense for CBSE examination on the basis of electric flux and its application. Many more questions are come. Then today our topic electric flux. It is denoted by phi. E for electric flux. Electric flux similar to magnetic flux. Now we define electric flux. What do you mean by electric flux? Suppose we have a particular area ds, then how many number of light passing normally through given area is these number of line of force is called electric flux. Suppose we have 5 line of force. This one passes perpendicular through area. This one again passes to perpendicular to this area, but this line pass in this direction, this line pass in this direction, this line pass in other direction. Then we know that out of 5, only 2 line of force passing normally through given area. Then the electric flux is defined as by the 2. Out of 5, only 2 line of force passing normally. Then we define electric flux. The number of line of force which are passing perpendicular to particular area is called electric flux linked with area. Now again I repeat my definition about electric flux. The electric flux through any given area is equal to total number of line of force. Only those number of line of force which are passing normally through given area. Electric flux is defined as phi E. Suppose we draw a diagram to understand again this electric flux. We have a point charge plus Q and having direction of intensity in such direction. Now we consider a small area ds, and at point P, due to this charge at point P, E is the intensity at that point. Then the normal component, normal direction of this area will be this. This represents the normal of that area. In previous class we know that A equal to L cross B. That means direction of area is perpendicular to length and width. Similarly here, the direction of area is a vector quantity. Direction of area is this. From this figure, suppose theta is angle between normal of ds and intensity. Again, what is theta? Theta is angle between normal of this area with intensity. Then it will be E cos theta. Why cos theta? E resolved in two perpendicular components, E cos theta and other one E sin theta. Therefore, according to definition of electric flux can be written as E cos theta into of ds. Why? The line of force passing normally through given area. Through given area means multiply by ds. And normal component of electric intensity. So this one is perpendicular to this. Means E cos theta, normal component of electric field intensity and given area. The product of E cos theta into ds is defined as the phi. In simplicity, EDS, we can write EDS cos theta. It is the formula for electric flux, equation number 1. But we know that it can be written as again phi E equal to E dot ds. Why E dot ds? Because dot product of two vector quantity will be AB cos theta. In this way, we can write phi equal to this. That means this electric flux is a scalar quantity, because we know that dot product of two vector quantity gives scalar quantity. Means phi E is a scalar quantity. And again we find the unit of SI unit of electric flux. SI unit will be, SI unit of phi will be unit of this into this, unit of this Newton per coulomb, unit of ds meter square, then SI unit will be Newton meter square per coulomb. Then we obtain formula for electric flux. It is a scalar quantity and SI unit. Now we can observe two cases of electric flux. How many? What will be the value? What will be the change in electric flux when area is placed perpendicular, parallel, something. Case 1. If ds is perpendicular to E. What do you mean? This area is placed perpendicular to E. That means in this situation, it is a direction of intensity and area is placed in this way, perpendicular. In perpendicular case, the normal of ds, that means this line will be coincide with this. Just an example. At a present situation is that this situation is that this type. The glass rod shows the direction of intensity and this pen represent the direction of area, that means normal of area. But when this area is placed perpendicular, in this way, when exactly becomes perpendicular, then the direction of pen and rod will be same, means the angle will be 0. That means when area is placed perpendicular to intensity, then theta will be 0. Then what happened when theta will be 0? Theta will be 0 degree. In this case, by equation 1, the phi E equal to only E ds, because cos value of cos 0 will be 1. Means maximum, it will be maximum. That means when area is placed perpendicular to that electric field, in this case, word perpendicular, in this case theta will be 0 and maximum flux will be passed out through that area. Case 2, if ds is parallel to intensity, this area is parallel to intensity, that in this way area will be parallel, then their normal component will be perpendicular, means theta will be 90. In this case, by equation 1, phi will be 0. Then what we have obtained? That when placed perpendicular to electric field, area placed perpendicular to electric field, maximum flux will be passed out. But when placed parallel to intensity, it possesses 0 electric flux. Now, on the basis of this concept, we take other topic, most important topic, Gauss theorem. Now our target, statement of Gauss theorem, proof of Gauss theorem, and we have to obtain Coulomb's law by this Gauss theorem, and three most important application of Gauss theorem will be studied in this topic. Now Gauss theorem. Gauss theorem statement is that suppose for a closed surface of any shape, according to Gauss theorem, for a closed surface of any shape with any number of charges present inside it in any position. What? For a closed surface of any shape with any number of charges present here and there inside that closed surface. Suppose Q1 is placed here, Q2 charge is placed here, Q3 is placed here and there. It may be positive, negative, both. Then what happened? Then according to Gauss theorem, the total flux pass out through this closed surface will be total flux, that means phi, will be equal to 1 upon epsilon naught times the algebraic sum of total charge. Algebraic sum of total charge. Again I repeat the statement of Gauss theorem. Firstly, we state about their condition that for a closed surface of any shape with any number of charges placed inside it in any position, the total electric flux pass out through that closed surface is equal to 1 upon epsilon times the summation of total charge. Means in this figure, the electric flux will be equal to 1 upon epsilon naught in bracket Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. It is the Gauss theorem. Many more example can we take. Suppose we have a small sphere S1 having charge plus 3q. Another sphere, concentric sphere is S2 having charge minus 5q. These are two charges, plus 3 coulomb and minus 5 coulomb. These are the charges enclosed by the sphere S1 and S2. Then what will be the electric flux pass out through S1, through the surface of S1, through the surface of S2? Then phi S1 will be 1 upon epsilon naught of 3. Why? Because S1 includes only 3 coulomb charge. But in the case of S2, 1 upon epsilon, this sphere containing charge minus 5 coulomb as well as plus 3 coulomb. That means minus 5 plus 3. It will be minus 2 upon epsilon naught. That is the electric flux come out from surface S2. Okay. Any other one example? Suppose an electric dipole having charge plus 10 raised to minus 6 and 10 raised to minus plus 6 enclosed by any surface. What will be the total electric flux come out through that surface? Yes. these surfaces containing a small dipole having charge 10 raised to minus 6 and 10 raised to plus 6, then what will be the total flux come out through that surface? Then according to Gauss theorem, simply it will be 1 upon epsilon naught of summation of total charge. That means 10 raised to minus 6, sorry, it will be 10 raised to minus 6 both, but it is in minus, it is in plus. Then sum of total charge minus 10 raised to 6 plus 10 raised to minus 6. That means it will be 0, because in a dipole net sum of total charge will be equal and opposite. Then to sum of total charge will be 0. Then electric flux come out from the this surface will be 0. Other one problem example again we can take. Any other problem? You know about axis, x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. Two charges are present in their respective position. One is here. Suppose q charge is placed here and their coordinate is 2, 0, and 2q charge is placed here. Their coordinate is 0, 3. At this point means coordinate 0, 3 plus 2q charge is placed, and at position 2, 0 in x-axis q charge is present. And our question is that what will be the electric flux passed through a sphere, a circle, a sphere having radius (3 meter) and center as origin. मीन्स क्या है कि इस पोजीशन पे 2q चार्ज रखा है और इस पोजीशन पे q चार्ज रखा है. हमको एक ऐसा सर्कल ड्रा करना है या स्फीयर ड्रा करना है जिसकी रेडियस 4 मीटर, सॉरी 4 मीटर. ये मीटर में कोऑर्डिनेट सिस्टम रिप्रेजेंट हो रहे हैं यहाँ पे, ये भी मीटर में. तो टोटल फ्लक्स कितना निकलेगा? नाउ वी ड्रा sphere having radius 4 meter. Having radius 4 meter, that means it will be up to this. Means the sphere will be of such type. Then according to Gauss theorem, total flux will be 1 upon epsilon naught summation of both charge. Sum of both charge means q as well as 2q. Why? Because both are inside the sphere. Both charges present inside the sphere. That means answer will be 3q upon epsilon naught. But suppose our question is that the radius is of 2.5 meter. Suppose radius is of 2.5 meter. 2.5 meter means containing this charge, but not contained to this, because its distance is 3 meter, its distance is 2 meter. Then the sphere will be of such type, this. That means when we draw the sphere of radius 2.5 as a center as origin, then this sphere only containing this charge, not to this. That means in second case, the electric flux will be 1 upon epsilon times of only q upon epsilon. So this is the example about Gauss theorem. Okay. Now we prove Gauss theorem. Proof for Gauss theorem. We suppose we consider O is a point containing charge plus q, and at a distance r, P is a point, and enclosed by a small area ds, and that small area is part of this total area. Due to point charge plus q, intensity at point P, which is denoted by E, directed in this direction. E is the intensity at point P, which is at distance r. E is the intensity at point P due to that due to plus q charge, and this will be the normal of that small area. Its component will be E cos theta if theta is angle between them. Now we close the small area, then it will be solid angle d omega. In previous topic we know that the solid angle d omega, and this solid angle is given by r ds cos theta upon ds. ds cos theta upon r. Now, for the proof for Gauss theorem, firstly we find out value of intensity is at point P is given by 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square. Intensity at point P. Therefore, the total flux pass out from this small area will be total flux d phi. For complete area we can take d phi, but for a small area ds we take d phi. Then d phi E, that means total flux pass out through this small area. Phi equal to E ds cos theta by putting the value of E 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square ds cos theta. Suppose here d omega equal to r square. Now 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, the ds cos theta upon r square can be written as d omega, where d omega is the solid angle and value of this solid angle is ds cos theta upon r square. Equation number 1. Now the total flux passing through complete area will be, by integrating this we can find out. Then by after integration, it will be integration of 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q into d omega. By taking constant come out, q upon 4 pi epsilon naught integration of d omega. Integration of d omega. D omega is the solid angle. Integration of d omega will be 4 pi. Why 4 pi? In front side, it will be pi. It will be pi. In front portion, total angle is 4 pi, and another portion 4 pi. That means integration of d omega for complete closed sphere, closed body is 4 pi. Then q upon 4 pi epsilon naught into 4 pi. 4 pi to 4 pi cancel, then we get q upon epsilon naught, and it is the Gauss theorem. 1 upon epsilon naught of the charge. Okay. Now we discuss about another derivation, Coulomb's law from Gauss theorem. Deduction of Coulomb's law through Gauss theorem. Our next topic is deduction of Coulomb's law by Gauss theorem. For this, we consider a point charge plus q and p is a point at distance r. To apply Gauss theorem everywhere, we consider a closed loop. Gauss theorem is applicable only in a closed loop. Then we consider a closed loop having center that charge and r is the radius. Then at point P, intensity is given in this direction, and value of intensity will be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square. Very simple deduction of Coulomb's law from Gauss theorem. Firstly, we consider plus q charge placed at point O, and intensity at point P at distance r is given by this equation number 1. And we consider the imaginary loop, imaginary sphere of radius r. Why we consider? Because we have to apply Gauss theorem, and Gauss theorem is applicable in a closed loop. Now we find out electric flux through this area. What will be the value of electric flux? Then according to Gauss theorem, phi E equal to 1 upon epsilon naught sum of total charge. We have only one charge q, then directly we can write q. But this phi E can be written as integration of E ds cos theta. E ds cos theta. According to formula, for a closed loop, phi E can be written as integration of E ds cos theta. For simple area ds, the value of phi is E ds cos theta we seen in the previous topic. But for complete loop, for complete sphere, integration phi will be integration of E ds cos theta 1 upon epsilon naught into of q. But here this angle will be of 0 degree. Why 0 degree? Because normal theta is the angle between normal of this area S with intensity, and its normal is also directed in this direction, always perpendicular. Then angle will be 0. Then cos 0 1, and E ds equal to 1 upon epsilon naught into q. but we know that integration of ds it will be 4 pi r square. Why 4 pi r square? Integration of ds means total enclosed area. It will be 4 pi r square equal to 1 upon epsilon naught q. Then intensity will be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon r square. It is the formula for intensity. Now, then force acting on point P by test charge Q naught. Suppose we place test charge Q naught at that point, then what will be the force exerted by that charge? And then we know that force equal to Q naught into intensity. Then F will be, by putting the value of E, 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught by R square. And we know that it is Coulomb's law. Then, dear student, we start from Gauss law. Finally, we find out Coulomb's law. Okay. Now,